Joe's going to have to sting him and hurt him hard to discourage him.
Cordina obviously has a massive power advantage over Vazquez. I think he's got a 56% knockout rate compared to Vazquez's 20%. Do you think Joe will be looking to finish the fight early, considering that?
Yeah, I think it's funny that as a fighter develops, I mean, Joe Cordina was not always known for his power, but coming off his last two performances, it seems like as he stepped up the level, his punch power is increased. And I think that's down to the sharpness of his punches and the fact that people are actually trying to win versus people that are coming to survive. Like when he knocked out Agawa, his knockout of the year, and that was a sensational knockout. He had Rakimov hurt a number of times, dropped him as well. The thing is with Vazquez, he's a little bit of an unknown, and it was interesting in Mexico on Saturday. I said to O'Shaquie Foster, who just retained his world title, who's a WBC champion in Joe's division, right, it's Cordina next, and he went, he's got to get past Vazquez first. And I was like, it's a funny thing to say. I said, oh, do you know Vazquez? He said, yeah, I spar with him. He trains in our gym. He said, that is a really, really tough fight. And we actually had Ray Ford, who is probably our best US prospect, who's about to fight for the WBA world title at 126 pound, fight Edward Vazquez. And I have to say, Edward Vazquez was very unlucky not to get the decision in that fight, and that's the only defeat on his record. So I actually think this is a really tough fight. It's strange surroundings as well in Monaco. I think you're joining us. It's like a dinner show times 1,000 in terms of like there's royalty there. It's a tuxedo affair. There's only 300 people in this incredible, stunning casino room with chandeliers. And obviously Joe's used to walking out at the Millennium Stadium or the Cardiff Arena and having all this noise. So you really got to be tuned in and up for this moment. And Vazquez will be. He's so hungry. Like, you've only got to look at his Instagram. He's talking about his father's in his corner and this is his lifelong dream. And this is going to be a tough fight for Joe.
You said there about the fact that he can't be underestimated, and obviously that fight against Ford in 2022. Since then, he's managed to win 4 in a row, all via points. Do you think Joe will kind of be thinking about that knockout? I have to get him out because he's on this kind of winning streak of points at the moment and he's doing well through that avenue?
Yeah, I think he's going to be really tough. I think he's going to be trying till the end. So Joe's either got to take him out or he's got to be sharp for 12 rounds. Again, Vazquez hasn't boxed at the level of Joe Cordina, and maybe his power can translate at that level as well. But he's going to come forward all night, and Joe's going to have to sting him and hurt him hard to discourage him in this fight. It's a very, very tough kid that's desperate to achieve his dream of becoming world champion, and he won't. There'll be no quit in Vazquez on Saturday.
Yeah, and I was looking at kind of what some of the fans are saying about the fight, and they're saying that Vazquez is kind of faster and he throws more punches. They're even saying he has a better ring IQ, and in their opinion, they're saying that Joe's kind of only chance is to catch him with a big right hand and put him to sleep. Do you think that's undermining Joe's ability within the ring?
Yeah, I think Joe's a favourite in the fight for sure, but I think there's a lot of Texas and Mexico fans that all think Vazquez is going to upset the odds, but for me, Joe Cordina is the best 130 pounder on the planet. It's more about being switched on. Everyone's talking about Foster versus Cordina or Lee Wood against Cordina, and as you saw on Saturday, when you talk about a fight that's upcoming rather than focus on what's in front of you, it becomes a tougher task. So as long as Joe's switched on, he's prepared well and he's ready, I believe he comes through on Saturday. But I do think it'll be a tough fight.
Yeah, and I know he's kind of a little bit disappointed with his last fight, and some people felt that the decision went in his favour when it shouldn't have. Do you think he'll be wanting to prove even more so that he is worthy of these wins and kind of put that to bed?
I felt he beat Rakimov by a couple of rounds, but it was fight of the year or one of them. I mean, Rakimov, super tough opponent. If you look at Joe's last two performances, one was a sensational second round knockout of Agawa, and the other one was a fight of the year win against Rakimov. So for me, Joe is establishing himself as the number one in the division. But I think if he can put a dominant display on, he takes that top seat and then has to move on to the unifications to try and pick up the other belts in the division.
Yeah. Okay, and then in terms of the actual fight, what is your prediction? What are you calling is going to happen?
I think Vazquez will be really tough, and I think he'll try and hang in there till the end and won't stop trying. So I think Joe might get to him late and stop him late, or a points victory. But I see him, in the bright lights of Monte Carlo, and he boxed there before. Joe, actually, one of his best performances of his career, actually, in the early stages. So he's experienced it before, and I think that's key. As I said, when you walk out into this casino, it's quite, say, weird. I mean, it's incredible, but you imagine fighting in a small room of 250 people, all in tuxedos, and it's raucous. Everyone's having a good time, but he was only allowed probably to sell, I don't know, 30 or 40 tickets to friends and family. So they'll be making plenty of noise. But having boxed there before, he's got the experience to know what it's like, and I expect him to get the victory on Saturday.